Hi everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of the BeagleBall NBA podcast. We have a really great episode planned out for you today. As you can see, my co-host and I have our notes already. I know that he's been working on his notes for the entire last week at least, after we taped that teaser video. Thanks so much for watching it and liking it. So I'm going to kind of go over, first of all, what this podcast will look like, what you can expect from both of us, and what we plan to bring to you through this series. So we hope, this is our goal, to have weekly releases. So at least release each week. We don't want to commit to a specific day just because our schedules can get kind of wild from week to week, but at least release once per week. We would love to have some guests on the podcast, so maybe some family. It would be great if we could have some friends on here too that are hoop heads like us to give us their opinions. Me and my co-host, we're going to provide a lot of opinions and a lot of predictions too, right? About basketball and the season, especially right now in the off season, because that's really all we can do. There's not a lot of basketball to watch. This is kind of our most difficult part of the year because there's no basketball on, and we really want that basketball. So today, specifically, we're going to go over a handful of really cool topics. First of all, you're going to get to know both of us, right? So for those of you that aren't aware of how awesome we are or the things that we like, we're going to talk about ourselves and some of our interests. We're going to introduce the first audience assist. And what that is, each time you hear us bring up an audience assist, that means that we're going to pass a question over to you, right? And your job then is to write a comment. Provide us with your opinions, provide us with your answers. So hopefully that comment section will become more active, because even though we like to hear each other's opinions, we want to hear your opinions too, right? Because especially if you're a family member or close family friend, a big reason we're doing this is to kind of boost that engagement and get those conversations going. So we're going to introduce ourselves, do some of those audience assists. We are going to really give a thorough update on the off season, right? And we're going to go into the draft and trades, free agents. My co-host is going to specifically talk about, some retirements that we had already this off season, as well as some coaching changes. And then we're going to do some premature prognostications, something like that. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to try to predict way too early before the off season is even wrapped up, as far as next year, what that will look like, right? So who will get the awards, who will be the champions, all those things. And then my co-host will also talk about, kind of a review of last year, what that looked like, the end of last season, the playoffs, and those things. And then the last thing that we'll do before we wrap up for this week is we're going to talk about some of those really intriguing questions for us. Kind of just general questions about players that are currently playing, and that kind of thing. So before I get too ahead of myself, let's just jump right into those host introductions. You've already heard me talking enough. That's something I do love to do, so I want to make sure to get this guy looped in also. So I'm going to hand it over to you. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them some stuff about you.
Hello everybody, my name is Patrick and I am 10 years old. I love playing basketball and I watch and I play. And I am very competitive. My favorite food is bacon and I am a guard at basketball and I really like defense.
Yes, that is right. He loves to play defense, which is really, really exciting to watch and to see. I always joke with him, he's kind of a coach out there on the court, right? Because when he's out there, he likes to talk to his teammates. And is it easy for you to sit down on the bench?
No.
No, it's not. He's usually standing up, clapping for his teammates, really getting into the game. So that's Patrick. He is my son.
Yep.
And I'm super excited that he's here and that we get to have this experience together. That's one thing that you know about both hosts of this show is that we're just nuts about basketball, right? Yeah. Ever since he was walking, basically, he wanted to shoot on his little Tykes hoop, and he always wanted to watch basketball with me. I don't even know if he knows this, but even before he could walk, right, when he was a little bitty baby, when I was putting him to bed late at night, I used to watch basketball with him. So he probably has some subconscious memories of that too. So let's move to me. So my name is Danny. Since you told him how old you were, I'm 38 years old, believe it or not. Let's see. So Patrick went over kind of how he likes to play basketball. I also love to play basketball. As a forward or a center, my favorite thing to do was probably to rebound or to do some of those low post basketball moves. I don't really have a favorite team, to be honest with you. I just love good basketball, and that means as long as the game is competitive and it's played the right way, I don't really care who the teams are. Now, like Patrick said, I am his dad, so if he's excited, if he's happy, usually that means I'm excited and I'm happy. So if the Heat are on and if he's into the game, usually I'm like dialed up too, right? And I'm wanting to focus. So he's a Heat fanatic.
Yeah.
And we'll talk
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler is...
That's my favorite player.
That's
Jimmy
right.
Butler is my favorite player, and one time I was just watching basketball and I watched the Heat and I'm like, this is my team. This is my team. I'm gonna watch this team, and it's really been good so far this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Now, like he said, the Heat and the Heat culture, it was pretty amazing. The story that he told is true. It wasn't like it was planned, right? He sat down one day, a Heat game was on, and it kind of just snapped in, just like a puzzle piece. He just decided that one day, okay, well, I'm going to be a huge fan of this team. I'm going to try to watch as much as I possibly can. And he's not wearing it today, but he has a Heat jersey and Heat t-shirts and Heat jackets, and he's just really wild about those Heat. I'm trying to think anything else about me. My favorite food, you said bacon, which I know surprises a lot of people.
Bacon, and I like bacon. I love bacon, and so bacon is like kind of like my favorite. I'll tell you guys like my top 3. Bacon is my first, pizza is my second, and over there at third will be tied with tacos and hot dogs.
Okay. Tacos, hot dogs, tied at number 3, pizza at number 2, bacon at number 1. You know what? Since you did to your top 3, I'll do my top 3 also. Excuse me. I'm not sure if that will be any specific order. I love pizza too, so that would definitely be in my list. And what's our favorite topping?
Me and my dad's favorite is pepperoni, and
that's right.
And then me and my sister and my mom's favorite is cheese or sausage. So it's kind of like a debate in the family. What should me and my dad normally eat more than my sister and mom, so we always want to get more pizza than
That's
them.
right.
So.
Yeah, we're that half and half family that goes to the restaurant, orders half and half. But hey, put your favorite pizza topping in the chat. That would be interesting. We want to let you know, become part of the debate. We live up, in a certain area that loves a lot of sausage. Me and Patrick aren't crazy about that though. So, but we're interested to hear what you think. So put your favorite pizza topping in the chat. Other than pizza, now I know that we don't agree on this. I love sushi. Patrick, he doesn't know yet. He really hasn't tried it too much. Sushi's in my top 3. And then my last one, boy, that's hard. I can't even think. let's see.
Is it like I'll help you out on this one. Is it like a popcorn from a baseball game, or a hot dog from a basketball game, something like that?
Yeah.
One of the best hot dogs are from basketball games. The popcorn is so good at
That's right.
Baseball games. So our family we live in Chicago, but so whenever we go to sports games, the popcorn is Garrett's, and I like Garrett's, but I feel like they should have the stadium. You make the popcorn at the stadium. You do not use different companies and just pay money for it. You should. I know Chicago is very crazy about their Garrett's popcorn, but you should always have sports or sports like the ones from the stadium that you make.
Yeah, he likes that hot, fresh made popcorn. It's not exactly the same when it's cold from a bag. I like Garrett's as much as the next person, but I do agree with them on this. You need that hot, fresh made popcorn. So yeah, that we can go with that with my number 3. And I've had the great opportunity to be Patrick's coach so far in his young playing career, and that's been a blast. And he's the reason why I'm doing this first and foremost, right? Because it allows me to spend time with him, and this is something that he's interested in doing as he gets older too, right? You talked about sports journalism and
my dream is to. I don't even want to be I'm not that. I want to be something in the NBA. So, if it was a player, if it was a coach, the journalism, any kind of maybe a sport, a arena designer, or some kind of thing. I really want to be a coach. Actually, I love coaching. I love getting the intensity level really high, and so I love the NBA, and that's what I want to do when I grow up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Patrick. And there's so many things you can do too, right? And you named a lot of really important ones, but you even see those guys, like those sports medicine guys that help them stretch and help them get ready for the games. There's just so many different ways.
Even the officials that are very...
Yeah,
maybe. The officials would be my last job because they're very... I can't be talking right now. I'm hard on the officials too, so I mean, that wouldn't be my... And I wanted to add something about me. In my favorite foods, I love meat, so I don't think I don't like a meat. I don't know, I just love meat.
Like steak and stuff like that.
Bacon.
Salami. Oh, I hear you.
Corned beef.
All that good stuff.
Pepperoni.
So that gives you just a little bit of a tidbit about Patrick and I, who we are. Hopefully, if you watch these, if you continue to watch these episodes, we're going to share more and more about ourselves too, right? Depending on the topics that we discuss or what comes up. You'll see that Patrick and I are pretty opinionated when it comes to certain things about the NBA, or even issues that come up that are related to the NBA that we'll talk about some later today. And that will let us get to know us a little bit better. And then when we have guests come on, you'll have a chance to get to know them too. So stay tuned on that. I think that right now would be a good time for another audience assist, right? Yeah. So we already asked about your favorite pizza topping, and me and Patrick both love food, believe it or not. And so this next audience assist is also a food question too. Now most of these will be basketball related, don't you worry. But these first two are related to food. So again, favorite pizza topping, and then also the second one
is favorite chicken dip.
Yeah, favorite chicken dip. So let us clarify. So this is any type of dip or sauce that you use with chicken, right? It can be grilled chicken, fried chicken, chicken tenders, any of those things. It could even be on a sandwich. But what's your favorite pairing with like a sauce with your chicken? Patrick, how about you go ahead and tell them what yours is?
So actually I prefer, so sometimes I like barbecue sauce of the most of all of them, but I do like sometimes having my chicken like plain, so like different kinds, like McDonald's or Portillo's, one of my favorite restaurants, a Chicago favorite, or like I like some chicken is plain and some chicken is barbecue sauce.
Sure.
So
I hear you. In mine, if it's chicken on its own and I buy it at the store or whatever, I feel like honey mustard is probably usually my favorite thing to dip it in. If I'm going to a restaurant, like Patrick mentioned, Portillo's, for whatever reason, we have a lot of like chicken restaurants around us, right? We have Wingstop, we have Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A, all those things are available, and they many of them have their own sauces too. So I would say that out of those restaurants, just recently we tried this place. My favorite sauce is probably the Raising Cane sauce, kind of that Cajun Ranch chicken dip sauce, and I think it's a good balance of flavor. So yeah, you don't have to give all these, long descriptions or rationales, but let us know what your favorite is and why. You can be as strongly opinionated as you'd like to be. If you feel like Patrick and I are nuts for our choices and you think, what are they thinking? There's so many better sauces than that. Let us know, right? That's part of the reason why we're doing this. So that's another audience assist. By the end of today, we're hoping to have at least a good 3 or 4 questions posed to you so that you can go ahead and answer them in the comments. All right, so now is when we finally dive into the basketball stuff.
Basketball.
We're playing basketball. All right, so we're...
Believe it or not, that's actually my favorite song. I know it's from the 80s, and actually, this is my grandpa, he says he doesn't like rap, okay? And he doesn't like this song because of this rap. But it's from the 80s, so, like, it's not really like a current kind of rap. Like, it's not like a current rap you could see. So, like, it's not like Damian Lillard's raps or stuff like that. So it's my favorite song because it's related to basketball and it's good rap. And even though I'm not from the 80s, I'm from the 2013s. I just like how they mentioned Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, some of these old time players.
Dr. J, Larry Bird.
J, George Gervin, I think they mentioned in there sometime.
Check it out. That's Patrick's plug for Curtis Blow. We're playing basketball. A really, really good old basketball song. It would be great if they did an update on that to include today's stars. But yeah, so we're finally getting into the basketball topics, what primarily we're going to be talking about here on this podcast. And this is all about the off season, right? The last season was wrapped up. And I'm actually going to hand it over to Patrick to go over the first few topics. But to begin, because of course it feels like it was long ago, but it was only like a couple months ago or so, that the wrap up of last season. And the last season's playoffs for us specifically was really interesting because of the teams that were involved and all of that stuff. So Patrick, go ahead and just let people know if you're not familiar, or I know we have some regular viewers who aren't huge basketball fans, so we can tell you kind of what happened at the end of last season and also who won some of the awards and stuff like that.
Okay, so what happened at the end of last year's playoffs? It was Miami Heat, my favorite team, versus the Denver Nuggets. The Jokic and Murray and Porter and Gordon team that they that it's just overpowered. I think their team is very good, but the Denver Nuggets won 4-1, but I was a little disappointed. But I was on a Alaskan cruise, so I could get away from that. I could just enjoy my time.
That's right.
So yeah.
I'm going to ask you some questions about that. So, Patrick, like you said, 4-1, 4-1, Denver won. However, this was actually a historic run for his Miami Heat, his favorite team. Let me give a little bit of backstory. So the Heat, they kind of underperformed during the regular season last year. You know, the year before they were the number 1 seed for a lot of the season.
Was
it the whole season pretty much?
They were okay. So most people would say the whole season, but at the end, it was kind of Boston, Philly, Miami. But most of the time, Miami was top. And then the Phoenix Suns, the year 2022's playoffs, was the number one
overall
West.
seed in the West.
Yeah.
So this last season that just recently wrapped up, you know, the Heat, they were not really in stride. They were... they struggled, right? And they struggled so much that they barely got into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So who did they have to beat? There was that last game
Chicago
against
Bulls.
Chicago. That's who it was.
Chicago Bulls. And I think this is going to be a funny one. I think if DeRozan's daughter was there, the Heat would have lost. Because that was impressive.
Tell them about that. So DeRozan is a star player on the Bulls, for those of you that don't know, and he invited his daughter to one of his games.
So it was a play-in, and if it's the 8th seed and the 7th seed, they get 2 games. But the 10th and the 9th seed, they get 1 game. So the Raptors I'm pretty sure they were the 9th seed. So that they were the 9th seed and the Bulls were the 10th seed. So they play first, okay? And DeRozan's daughter was at that game in Toronto. That I think it was kind of because DeRozan he played in Toronto, so he knows it, and so they lost. I'm pretty because the Raptors were 50% from free throw. I think that was a world record, the worst free throw shooting of all time in the playoff or play-in or regular season game.
And why do you think, what was one of the reasons why they were so bad at the line?
Because DeRozan's daughter was screaming
screeching as loud as possible.
Screeching. Like, I couldn't even do it.
Yeah, so every time the Raptors got up to the line, she was just screaming as loud as possible, and they missed a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, so maybe if she would come to the Miami game, maybe, you never know, Miami would have lost. But they didn't. Yeah. They won, right? They won against the Bulls. They got into the playoffs crawling, barely. But their first matchup was the Bucks, so we were like, they're going to lose. Number 1 seed.
They were down. They were down, and I was like, okay, let's just finish this year off on a good tone. Let's just score some points. We can be on with this. Bulls can get into the playoffs. They start scoring points. Jimmy Butler, Max Strus, actually a former Miami Heat, now a Cleveland Cavalier, but I still very much respect him for what he did. He saved the Miami Heat actually in the play-in versus the Bulls. He hit very 2 clutch, very good 3-pointers, and actually I'm going to go so Max Strus's hometown is Chicago, so that's pretty. So Max Strus has high schools that he goes to and camps, but I'm actually going to have a basketball camp. Max Strus is gonna be there, So it's going to be I feel like it's going to be very exciting for me.
Oh, man,
And it's going to be a lifetime experience. Like, I don't think a lot of people have ever went to a basketball game with especially an NBA player.
Yeah, I am jealous. I've told him that several times, that he gets to spend that kind of time with an NBA player that he's a fan of. And I just think it will be amazing. Like you said, a lifetime experience. What we were talking about before, so I'm going to kind of get us back on topic, talking about last season. So yeah, the Heat beat the Bulls to get into the playoffs, and then they had a historic run for a team like the Heat that barely made it into the playoffs. They just kept winning. They kept winning the rounds. They beat the Bucks.
They beat the Bucks.
And then they beat
the Knicks.
The Knicks,
and
that's
then
right.
Boston.
And then the Celtics,
But let me tell you guys something. I don't know like the math, but the Heat was 8-0 in the fourth game of the Boston series. 8-0 at home. That is amazing. That is so amazing for a play-in team. You know what? They renamed their arena. And they only had one loss in that arena in the play-in versus the Hawks. But then that was it. 8-0, and the Bucks, they lost. They won to the Bucks. The Bucks. I feel bad for the Bucks because I wanted the Bucks to go to I wanted the Bucks to go to the finals, kind of like the Heat, but. I think they were they think, oh, this is too easy, let's just win, let's go over this. And then Mike Budenholzer's brother passed away, and then Mike Budenholzer got fired, Giannis got hurt in that series. There's a lot of things happening with the Bucks and all of that. And Mike Budenholzer should never have gotten fired, okay? Even though he made a bad timeout he didn't call a timeout in the last game. He had a coach's challenge in the first quarter. He should have never got fired. He had a tough time with his brother dying or passing away.
Yeah, Patrick and I talked about that this off season. It seemed like there were a lot of
coaching changes.
Coaches being fired or let go. And we're talking like very recently after having great success or having coach of the year award or everything else. It just really seemed like the coaches were being used as an easy answer. Like, oh, well, we didn't do as well as we wanted to. Let's fire the coach.
Yeah.
Right? When there was probably other answers. So I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit. I love the level of detail, Patrick. But we're so the Miami Heat, like we talked about, they beat some really difficult teams: the Bucks, the Knicks, the Celtics. Made it all the way to the finals, which of course we talked about earlier, against the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, they were a really strong team, and they kind of I think they lost 3 games in the entire playoffs, right? So they kind of had a much easier trip to the finals. And they have a lot of great young players also. So congrats to them. I think they're a great team. We're going to see they lost some key players already in this offseason. Yeah, Bruce Brown, probably their strongest player off the bench, signed with the Indiana Pacers, which was a shock.
One of my dad's favorite teams. I remember going to an Indiana Pacers game when I was like 4. We grow, we love Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana Pacers are their small market, right? So it's really hard for them to get great players in the off season. So that was a really exciting pickup for them. But now Denver doesn't have Bruce Brown, right? So they're going to have to figure out ways to continue to be competitive and continue to win despite losing some of their great players in the playoffs. So that was last year, right? So Denver wins
year.
the championship. The Heat are the Eastern Conference champions,
Yeah.
which is a great thing. They can hang that from the rafters over there. And so last year, just for those of you that don't know, again, this is a quick recap. So the most valuable player award went to Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers, which he deserved it. He stayed healthy almost all season. He played really, really well.
That's a very big debate. If it should have been Jokic, should have been. I really think it should have been Jokic, but I don't really think he could have done a free-peat anyways.
Well, both players were deserving, right? They both played so well. Yeah. There really wasn't a bad choice between the two of them.
Yeah, there wasn't.
But it was a big debate, you know.
I think both of them were centers or something like that.
Yeah, both of them were centers. Yeah.
That's very impressive. Like you are not gonna get a center, not in their normal NBA. You're not gonna get a center that averages 10 assists a game.
Right.
Jokic is averaging a triple-double in his numbers. That is amazing.
That's a pretty impressive thing.
And then he wants to go back home to his horses. he likes his horses.
Me and Patrick talked about how it's interesting because most NBA greats, I'll say, they have this singular focus, and it's winning, right? We have to win. That's all that matters. Basketball is all that matters. Jokic is a little interesting, not only because he had a different upbringing, in Europe and everything else, but he's incredibly gifted at basketball, but he also completely, fully acknowledges the fact that it's a job to him, right? He works hard at it. He's great at it. But when it's done, he kind of wants it to be done. And by the end of the playoffs, when they won the title, sure, he was happy, but he was also ready to take a break, right?
Yeah.
And to have the off season with his family. And he loves horses, he says, also. So that's what he really wanted to get back to. Patrick, really quickly, if we can just go over a few things with you. So the first one, and we should do this probably at the end of every season as we go along, is about those players that are older or are walking away from the game. And this is a short list so far. There could be other retirements announced maybe before the season starts, but these are the players that we know about so far.
Okay, so retiring players, one of the Lou Williams, he had a pretty good career, pretty average. I think he was good. I don't know.
He's one of those spark plug players. He used to score a lot off the bench.
I think he was like a 6-man, kind of an average player. So I think Lou Williams did very good in the NBA. So. Then Udonis Haslem, my Miami Heat. He was I love Udonis Haslem. He's very kind. He's funny. Even he with Eric Spoelstra, he's like an assistant coach. He's an assistant coach. You're not kidding. I'm not kidding. Udonis Haslem is a player. He used to be a player, but he's like Eric Spoelstra's assistant coach, a backup. He talks to the team. He gives his heart and soul to the game, or in the Miami Heat. He played 20 years there. 20 years.
20 years for the same team, which is really rare nowadays. So he's a Mr. Heat, right? Like Patrick said, he's part of the culture. A couple interesting facts about these players specifically. So Lou Williams is one of those players that came into the league directly from high school, which, of course, that rule has changed now. But back then, he is one of the players that did that. And also a third player on this list that I forgot about because he was out of the league for the past couple years, but he formally announced his retirement this offseason, was Carmelo Anthony as well. So he finally said, look, my focus is on my son now. His son plays basketball and is a really good prospect, and he walked away the way that he wanted to. So those were our retiring players.
Yep.
And now let's talk about, we already covered just briefly some of the coaching stuff, the firings and all that stuff, and a lot of movement in coaching this off season. But how about you just review some of the main kind of coaching changes that you've seen so far?
Okay, just getting my paperwork ready.
Yeah, it's okay. We have a lot of notes here.
Okay, so for the Phoenix Suns, this is a very good coach. I believe he should never have gone away from the Lakers. Frank Vogel for the Phoenix Suns, a very good coach.
That last name kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah, a very good. Yeah, so he's a good coach. Yeah, he has a good roster.
And where is he at now?
Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. Gee whiz, I forgot about that. Yeah, Frank Vogel in Phoenix. Jeez.
He has a very good roster with Kevin Durant,
yeah.
Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Ayton.
A lot of players.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, and then we have Houston Rockets, Ime Udoka. I think he was a fabulous coach. Very good. He was
at Boston before,
right? He was overperforming in his first year. He was nobody thought he was going to be that good. Because before the 2021-22 season, they had Brad Stevenson, I think his name is. They were not that good. They were not good.
Yeah, Ime Udoka, it's an interesting story with him because he did a fabulous job on the court his first year, right? Like Patrick said, he overperformed. The record was really, really great. Unfortunately, and we don't really know what happened, but some off the court issues that a lot of a lot of issues happening off the court is kind of what made the team suspend him and all this other stuff, right? So Boston, at least it looked like we're kind of forced to say, nope, we're done. That's fine. And then Joe Mazzulla, one of his assistant coaches, ended up taking over first as an interim, and then they just had him stay as the permanent coach. Yeah. But he gets kind of a second chance, right, in Houston. He gets to start over.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a different coaching year. I think that young roster is that's going to help Ime and the players learn how this is a different coach.
And he has some cornerstones now too, right?
Yeah.
Van Fleet, he has some veterans now that can also help him teach some of those players. For sure. Who else you got?
So I have Adrian Griffin. He used to be an assistant coach, I recall, from the Toronto Raptors, but he is now coaching the Milwaukee Bucks, head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. I talked about Mike Budenholzer earlier, and that stuff. And Adrian Griffin.
So we don't know we haven't heard anything about Budenholzer going somewhere else, have we?
No.
So he's another coach that's available that I'm thinking might get picked up at some point along the way. I remember Adrian Griffin when Patrick mentioned that name. So I remember him playing on the Bulls and the Mavericks as kind of a end of the bench sort of role player back in his playing career. So it'll be interesting, right? An assistant coach getting his first chance in a really high-profile team like that, who has a player like Giannis, to see how far they can go. So that is kind of what we're doing. Looks like we have a surprise guest. So we're never mind that. Someone just came in. So let's see. So I know we have there's a couple more coaches we want to go over. We're not going to really cover the one on the Raptors too much because we don't know a whole lot about him. We know his first name is Darko. I don't even want to attempt to pronounce his last name. Don't really know a whole lot about him, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Patrick, what about the other big names that we have?
Monty Williams,
and he was with Phoenix. Now where is he?
He is with Detroit Pistons, And I think he's going to get a good couple of years with him. He's a very good coach. He was a coach of the year, I think.
Man, they need help, don't they?
Coach of the year,
I mean,
right?
Pistons have been trash for a lot of years. I mean, we don't want to offend any Pistons fans,
Oh, no.
but they have been...
I don't want to offend...
They need help.
I don't want to offend Isaiah Thomas and the bad boy Pistons.
That's right. That's the last thing we want to do. Rick Mahorn and Joe Dumars and Isaiah. What's that? What's the guy's name? I can't remember. The big guy, the forward that was really Bill Lambier.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to offend those guys. But we do know in the last handful of years, the Pistons have been one of the worst teams in the league, and they've had several high draft picks. Right. So it's about time.
Him?
Yeah. Jaden Ivey.
Okay, so Jaden Ivey, he wasn't even the first pick last year. Okay, Cade Cunningham was underperformed. I thought he was going to be a very good player in the Pistons. I thought he was going to bring them to a very good spot. No, he didn't. He was kind of like, he should be a role player on the bench, but the Pistons don't have anyone in their starting lineup. So it's like, well, he's going to be in the starting lineup. But, yeah, Monty Williams, I think he's going to get a very good years and money from the Pistons.
Yep. Let's hope he can help that struggling franchise. If he's able to make them a competitor in the East, maybe get into the playoffs, that would be a great place to start. So we'll see how that goes, and I think you have one more?
I have, that Darko guy. I don't really know, I don't really know a lot about him, but he's going to be Toronto Raptors' new coach.
Okay.
And Nick Nurse of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow.
That's a very, because Nick Nurse used to be on the Toronto guys. And I just feel like it's a real interesting because the Raptors were very good, big competitors with the Sixers, okay? That Toronto Kawhi Leonard shot, that's true. I forgot about that. They're very competitors, and Nick Nurse is very good coach, and I am very excited what he's going to do for the Philadelphia 76ers.
All right, so let me think here. So we do have additional off-season updates to go over.
Yes, we do.
So the first thing we have to go over is the NBA draft.
NBA draft.
Patrick, if you can go ahead and let our little animal out. We have our dog Maggie. She's our family mascot, right? So she might come in and introduce herself from time to time. She's throwing a protest from her crate right now. So we're going to let her out so that the mics don't pick up too much of her talking to us. So Patrick's going to let her out. Patrick, if you want to, go ahead and get her in with the other people and let them know kind of what we're doing, that would be great. All right, so while my co-host is away, just for a moment, I'm going to go over some things. So the first thing, and we're going to do this quickly because there wasn't any huge surprises in this area. We're going to go over the NBA draft, which I think that was just a few weeks ago now.
Let me go over.
Well, and the number one pick went to San Antonio.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm pronouncing.
Wembanyama.
Right.
And what country was he from, Patrick? Where did he play before? Do you remember?
France.
Right.
Yeah.
So he played in France. He's, I think, 7'3".
7'5".
7'5". Has the skills of a guard. Can dribble. Can shoot.
He's gonna be a good guy on the Spurs, especially with that Popovich or Greg Popovich, been the coach for a while. He's already done with these. Like he's already had these big guys like Tim Duncan, the fundamental, what's his name?
Tony Parker.
No,
David Robinson.
David Robinson. And then he got this another guy. He's Victor. And he's like,
it seems like it's a pick made in heaven, right? It's a great match. They should move forward. The only concerns about Victor Wembanyama is that his build is really not NBA ready. He's so slight and thin that some people think there's an injury risk there. But KD and Kevin Garnett and other players were very, very small and thin when they got into the league also. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. The only other pick that I was really excited about was probably Scoot Henderson. Yeah, with the Portland Trailblazers. So we'll have to see. We're going to talk about Rookie of the Year predictions later on in today's podcast. So we'll have to let you know what we think there. All right, so that was the draft, kind of just the number 1 and 3 picks rather. There was a pick in between.
Brandon Miller.
Right, for Charlotte, but I don't know too much about him, and I'm not going to go over that. Let's go over just a few of the trades. Patrick already mentioned one of them with Bradley Beal being traded to the Suns. So that gives them kind of a really strong starting lineup, right, with... who do they have now? They have Booker, Beal, Durant, and DeAndre Ayton. So
that started a very, very good team. It's kind of like people say it's a three-peat, but it's a four-peat actually, because DeAndre Ayton, I feel like people I think they're underrate him. He is a very good center. Like he has great size. He can body. It's kind of like it's a four. There's 4 guys that are like great.
Yeah, I think that there's a rumor that Ayton might not be the easiest player to coach, right? That's one of the reasons why Monty Williams, I think, was moved, was because he was having some issues with some of his players, just coaching them, getting through to them. But yeah, no doubt it's a great starting lineup. It's going to be give the Nuggets some big contenders in the West, kind of the Suns being that team. And also dealing with the Suns, Chris Paul was it was a weird trade. He was traded from Phoenix to Washington, but then Washington traded him to Golden State. So basically, at the end of the day, the 2 major transactions were Chris Paul going to Golden State, which... I don't know. I'll ask for your...
Yeah, it is okay, Golden State, not to offend you or like... Are you trying to do the Los Angeles thing? Get all these veterans? Because Steph Curry and Chris Paul is not a bench point guard. He is a starting point guard. I know Steve Kerr. He's a very good coach, and he's not going to put Steph Curry... He's coached Steph Curry all his... career. He's not gonna put Steph Curry on the bench like that. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think it is pretty wild to have Chris Paul in a bench role. I think that he's a winning player. He's been a winning player almost everywhere he's been. There's no denying that. But he's a pretty high profile to be a bench player also. So we'll see how it works. I'm kind of intrigued by it, to say the least. The other move was Jordan Poole going to the Warriors, which...
The Wizards.
The Wizards, yes, that's what I meant, the Wizards. Because he'll have all the green lights and opportunities to shoot there.
And he will have Draymond Green, okay? Yeah. Draymond, there was a whole... I don't think Jordan Poole was a Warrior. He wasn't like the Warriors. Like I don't think he fit in.
He wasn't part of that core, right? The Steph, Klay Thompson. He was a great player for that 1 year. Yeah. But yeah, this last year.
I think it was 2020, 2021, 2022, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Jordan Poole now can thrive hopefully in Washington. I think he might be one of the candidates for the Most Improved Player award. Yeah. Because he'll have so much more time and ability to shoot and get open there. And that's just the start, right? There's a lot more trades that we think will happen.
Yeah, like so I'm gonna talk about the Heat here and their trades. So Gabe Vincent, Max Strus got lost in free agency, okay? They got Cleveland, Max Strus, and Gabe Vincent, Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, we have another one too. Victor Oladipo got hurt. Victor Oladipo is a great player, and I liked him, but he got hurt a lot, so, and yeah, I think I think the Heat are really trying to, they're trying to get somebody good. That's why I feel like, because Jimmy Butler is trying to get Damian Lillard to come to the
Damian
Heat.
Lillard, if you can't hear him. Here, get closer to your mic.
Damian Lillard to the Heat. And that's, I feel like that's going to be the trade. I feel like they're going to have some other trades too. So let's just, I can't wait to see what some more trades are in the Heat in the lineups.
I think the Heat are trying to make cap space, and they're also trying to get other players. So Damian Lillard would be a great start. We're a huge fan of Dame Time, not only his basketball but also his rapping. We love his music. He has a song called Kobe, which is a great song.
Yeah.
So Kobe by Dame Dolla, Dolla.
That's what it is. I've always tried to look that up and Damian Lillard. And I'm like, no, this isn't the song. I want a Damian Lillard. I want Damian Lillard Kobe song.
Yeah, Dame Dolla is his performance name in Amazon. So that Dame Dolla, Kobe is a great song. So he would be a great start on the Heat, getting him into that roster. They also need more bigs. One of the reasons why they struggled with Denver last year was that they were a smaller team. They didn't have as much size. Now they have Bam Adebayo, who's a wonderful defender, and he's a bigger guy. I think he's 6'9" or 6'10".
6'10".
But other players, it would be really helpful to get a big. So on that topic, there's also some free agents right now. I know that there was quite a few free agents to start the off-season period, but now that the free agency period has been opened, there have been a lot of signings. Patrick already mentioned a few of them with Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. But there's been a lot of other signings too. A lot of guys going back to their team from last year. So players like Chris Middleton signing again with Milwaukee. Harrison Barnes re-signing with Sacramento.
Yeah, and Draymond Green signing with the Warriors again.
There's a lot of players like that. Now there are some free agents that have changed their setting. One of them was Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet
went to Houston.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of any. Bruce Brown, of course, we talked about him going to the Pacers. Going to the Pacers. Javon Carter went to the Bulls. Now, these are relatively small names compared to the really huge free agents that you sometimes think about. I'll never forget when LeBron went to Miami, for example. That was a huge free agent moment. Or when KD went to Golden State the last years ago. So nothing that earth-shattering. But there are some things that still might happen. Brook Lopez, who had a wonderful resurgence last year as a great defensive player, he's still undecided, right? So we're not sure about them. What else? Are there any other free agents that I've forgotten?
So Jeremy Grant.
Oh, that's right.
Re-signed with
Portland, right?
Yeah, Portland. He re-signed with Portland, and
there's a lot of other free agents as well.
I think Timberwolves re-signed this. He might not be a free agent, but Timberwolves re-signed the Reed.
Oh yeah, Nas Reed.
Reed.
He re-signed. There are several players that have extended, and now, especially young players, that you can tell they are the cornerstone of their team. Tyrese Halliburton signed a 5-year extension, at the maximum level, right? It's over $250 million, right? So he is the guy in Indiana now. Desmond Bain signed a 4-year extension over $200 million. So he is one of the guys on the Memphis Grizzlies now.
Kyrie Irving.
Yep, that's a big one.
So
Kyrie Irving again last season. We won't go into that in detail, but a lot of off-season issues over the past couple years actually, and he re-signed with Dallas. Which if I was Luka.
Yeah, I'd be like, I want to get out of this. I want to get out of Dallas because, I don't want to mess with Kyrie. I'm just not going to get into the details, but I personally do not like Kyrie Irving.
Here's one hot take that I have. So I think that by February, that either Kyrie or Luka are going to have a trade request.
Yeah.
By one of them, by February, because it's just such a mess there.
Well, I'm going to have one too. I think Luka is probably going to I think he's going to demand a trade. And maybe in the year, maybe in the last part of the offseason, I think he's going to demand a trade.
Quite possible.
Yeah, I think he's better than Kyrie Irving right now, so he doesn't want to be with a bad guy or with a guy that's already had his career basically. So.
Yeah, so we'll see. Dallas is going to be another exciting kind of not exciting, interesting team, I'll say. All right, so that kind of covers off-season updates so far. Now, like we said earlier, we're going to be releasing weekly, right? So there's going to be other updates with the off-season trades, free agency, as the season is getting more and more geared up to begin. So that's one thing that will happen. So stay tuned. Even if you're not a big basketball fan, you can come here to us and we can't have iPads in the living room. Okay, the audio will bleed into the microphone, so you have to go to a different room. Okay, if you're going to do that. Sorry about that, folks. We have several people kind of entering into a different area that we were planning for. So we're going to keep on going. So let's see what else. All right, so we're almost finished up. We just have a couple more segments to go. It seems like the rest of the family are kind of getting itchy to move on with our day. So we're going to wrap up pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
I know. We only have this common area in our house for a limited amount of time during the day, so we'll try to wrap this up quick. And like I said, we're going to be doing this, frequently during the off season, so we'll have more of a chance to talk to y'all. All right, so the next segment that we have is about super early predictions, premature prognostications, and we know that there's a lot of things that are still going to happen, right? So these are kind of just guesses, right? They're kind of just fun guesses. We'll see what happens. So Patrick, I'm going to ask you some questions, right?
Okay.
And you just make your best predictions that you think, right? And you can decide to be as wild or as regular as possible. So the first thing I want to ask you is next year. So we know that this year it was Denver and Miami coming out of the Eastern and Western Conference. But next year, who do you think the conference finalists are going to be in the West?
Want the finals or the Sun?
Just the conference finalists.
So the conference finals.
So who's going to be the top in the East and who's going to be the top in the West?
So the two teams in the East and the West.
Just the one team in each.
Okay, so I think the Suns.
Okay,
the
Suns in the West.
Suns are going to be in the West. This might be... I think this is going to be a good pick. A Boston Celtics.
Okay.
Even though I'm not a big fan of the Boston Celtics, their crowd isn't supposed to be that. Their fans aren't supposed to be that good. But it's a very good pick because Porzingis is on their team now. And they have Al Horford and Robert Williams Jr.
Yeah, and Porzingis. That's...
And all of those free players they're all starters.
Yeah, but remember this too. It'll be interesting to figure out this season. They don't have a Marcus Smart, right? Yeah. The lifeblood of their team as far as his intensity and his leadership. So we'll have to see. Hopefully Jason Tatum rises to the occasion, becomes that vocal leader, becomes stronger, and is able to lead them forward.
And Jaylen Brown. There's been some rumors about him wanting to go to a different team because he feels like he could be a star on another team, but Tatum is kind of stealing the show for him.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't know about this because
too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
You got to spread the ball a little bit. Yeah. So you think Suns and Celtics, which I am gonna. This might seem kind of weird, and this is again a super early prediction, so we'll have to see. I bet against the Heat this year. I'll admit it.
Oh.
I thought that they were going to lose really early. I know they were injured, whatever.
Against the
No, I did this year, and I regret it because they made it all the way to the finals, right? We both didn't think the Heat were going to get very far.
We did.
Right? We kind of counted them out. We thought they haven't been good all year, whatever. So, because of that, and we'll see what the offseason holds, I'm going to go for the Heat. Right, so I'm gonna think, and I don't know how likely this is, but I'm gonna say a repeat of this year's finals.
Okay.
Heat Nuggets.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
So you want the Cavaliers, like the kind of like the Warriors Cavaliers kind of rival? Okay.
Yeah, rivalry. So we'll see. We'll see if it works. I would love to see the Heat get back there again, and the Nuggets. I know they lost Bruce Brown, but they still have their key nucleus in place still. So, and then the champion. So from the Suns and the Celtics, who do you think reigns supreme? Who wins that series?
Suns and the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's like a game 7.
A game 7.
That's gonna be a game 7.
Well, you got to pick one. Who are you gonna pick?
But I would pick the Suns.
Okay, the Suns. Yeah, they have some of those cold-blooded killers on their team. Game 7, KD.
Yeah, but I would.
You don't want to.
Yeah, the game. Out. I would definitely say Game 7 in that series.
Okay.
If that would ever happen, that would be I think a guaranteed Game 7.
And at this point, today's episode, without knowing what the Heat are going to do, I'm still going to give the nod to the Nuggets coming out of that matchup. But we'll see. They could get some extra bigs. They could get Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, another player you never want to count out in a big game, right? Game 7.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler.
At game time, he always does that. When it's Game 7, he hits big shots. So we'll see. And then we'll just do a couple other ones. So MVP next year.
Okay, so me and my dad were talking about this earlier, and I maybe. Okay, so I can I give like my top 3?
Give top 2. I'll give you 2.
Okay, so I think it would either be Joel Embiid, and this is going to be a very, very hot take, but I would definitely put maybe like a Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, that's a hot take. Tyrese Halliburton from the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
Wow, we'll see. Got that big extension. That would be amazing. So Embiid, who won this year.
Yeah.
Or Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
Boy, it's tough. I feel like next year Giannis might be kind of embarrassed how he got beat in the playoffs this year. He got hurt also, so he might be kind of like in a revenge run where he's just like, get out of my way. I'm going to take over.
But he's not in his prime time anymore.
Oh, I know.
So,
maybe he's a little bit old. We'll see.
He's an old guy now.
Rookie of the year?
Yeah, the rookie of the year. Okay, we know this. Victor Wembanyama.
So this is going to be my hot take, right? Because I think everyone under the sun is saying Victor Wembanyama. He's made for rookie of the year, right? He's tall, whatever. So I'm going to pick Scoot.
Yeah, and that's
Scoot Henderson. So we'll see.
That is
we'll see.
That's a better. That is a. I mean, I could believe that. That people are saying there's no doubt that Victor Wembanyama is going to be
There's always some doubt, right? If he gets hurt. And Scoot also, he's polished.
That's a good, because Scoot he's a strong player. I don't think he's going to get hurt.
No, I don't think so either. And if Dame gets traded from Portland, I mean, he's
going to be the strong one.
He's going to get a lot of play. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Here's kind of a surprise question I'm going to ask you, and I don't even think you knew about this going in, but and again, this is super early predictions, and this could be years away, so I don't even know this. So what's the next city to get an NBA expansion team?
Las Vegas. I'm going to say that right now.
So you're saying Las Vegas, huh?
I'm going to say that right now. There's going to be this is not from basketball, but the Oakland Athletics, I think, are moving
and
to
baseball,
the Las Vegas.
They need a basketball team,
and
right?
They need a basketball team.
They have football, hockey, baseball.
Yeah.
Why would you leave out basketball?
Yeah.
And they already have that summer league there.
Yeah, but
So you think
the biggest rumor is Las Vegas. Yeah, the biggest rumor is Las Vegas.
Now, Patrick mentioned earlier that the cruise that we recently went on, but we actually left out of Seattle.
Seattle.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
and we spent some time in the city and the monorail and stuff. Man, I think that would be a great city, too. They already had the Supersonics. The fans there want a team back, right? So I would love for Seattle. Now, I think I'm with you as far as which one would probably get it next. Yeah. Las Vegas has a lot of teams coming in right now.
Yeah, but Seattle would probably be the next pick off of Las Vegas.
I would love Seattle to get one.
Seattle might be like a little like it might be like it has a lot of culture. Yeah, it's like but it is a very good city. It is their people are nice there. It's very. I like Seattle because
me too.
Yeah,
it was a cool town.
Yeah.
All right, so another audience assist. We promised you that we were asking you to share some other things, and my bad, I forgot to bring it up earlier. But if there are any, and this is more for the big NBA fans, if there's any free agents, right, that you would want to join your favorite team, whoever that might be, make sure you write it in there. And then also the question I just asked Patrick too about the next expansion, city. Let us know what you think, right? There could be some really off the wall answers out there that I haven't even thought of, right?
I have what's it called? An audience assist right now. I have an audience assist right now. If you would have picked one bobblehead out of even Dwayne Wade and LeBron James over here, you might not be able to see them.
Yeah.
But not them over there.
So let's go.
There's all of these.
Bernie, the Heat's mascot. Yeah. You got
Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, Akeem Olajuwon, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant.
He's not a player. Slick Leonard.
Slick Leonard.
Yeah, remember the coach.
Isn't it Bobby Leonard?
Bobby Slick Leonard. Yeah, that was his nickname. And Reggie Miller. So what's your question about him? Which one would they pick?
Which one would? So you can put two. You can put the best out of them all, or you could put who would you what was your favorite out of them all be? Okay, so.
All right, those are good things. So audience assist members, we'll review those kind of at the end, right before we wrap up so that you remember. I know we've already asked for a few things today. All right, so the last question for us that we're going to guess before we wrap up with this first episode. This was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
I like this.
So we plan to do it more often, hopefully, like I talked about, on a weekly basis. We're coming at you live from our kitchen, right? So this is where we're going to do it. You can see some NBA stuff. You can't really see the Kobe and LeBron paintings up there, but you can see the NBA poster behind me. You got the MJ thing further over there.
Kobe and Shaq.
The Chicago Bulls banner, and then a whole lot of basketball books on that table back. We don't have to go over them, but a whole bunch of basketball books back here. Yep. And there's that too. So basketball world, we're coming at you from here. And in addition to this stuff, sometimes Patrick and I also like to play NBA 2K. Right? That's kind of one of our favorite video games. That's what we do quite a bit. So and the cover athlete, as far as we know, hasn't been announced up to this point. Yeah. Right? So Patrick, who do you think is going to be on the cover?
Okay, so so there's Kobe Bryant is number 24, and I feel like they might give it to him, but they might give it to somebody like Kevin Durant, or they might give it to somebody like Luka or Giannis, Embiid,
probably not Ja Morant.
Yeah, not Ja Morant. But Yeah.
All right, so since it's 2K24,
24.
you're thinking it would make the most sense to give it to the most famous 24 ever,
Yes.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I expect to see is that because they like to make money, I expect them to have some kind of more expensive Legend edition where they're going to have Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant on the cover. As far as the regular cover athlete for like the standard edition, I'm thinking it might be a current player
Yeah,
like you
like a
talked about.
Jokic or
Yeah, any of those more current players right now.
A Butler, that'd be a good one. A Butler,
That would be
that's
nice. That would be a fresh, different take.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our guess. So we're gonna wrap up here. This was a ton of fun. I actually really enjoyed doing this together with Patrick, and I hope that you enjoy the video. I'm learning as we go too, right? So we're all learning about how to record these things, how to edit videos, how to get them out to you in a timely manner. So that's what we're gonna try our best to do. Your job is to enjoy, but then also provide us with that pass back, right? So those audience assists rather that we have sent your way. I'm going to review those questions right now. So number 1, best pizza topping, or your preferred pizza topping. Number 2, your favorite chicken dip, right? So any sauce or dip that goes with chicken. Number 3 is kind of any free agents that you're intrigued about, who you think your favorite team should get, if anything. You may not know about free agents, and that's okay. Number 4 is, let me think, what was number 4?
Expansion team.
Yes, thank you so much, Patrick. Your young brain is really good. So expansion team. So what town or city would you love to get a team? Right?
Seattle, Las Vegas, or even like
St. Louis, Cincinnati. There's a lot of different towns.
This would be Maine. Wouldn't that be funny?
Augusta, Maine. There's Anchorage, Alaska, right? There's a lot of these different ideas too.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, there's a team in Toronto, right? There's been funnier things. There used to be a team in Vancouver, so there's some kind of off the wall things. So let us know. And then Patrick asked you that bobblehead question, right? So out of the bobbleheads that we reviewed together, which do you think is the best player bobblehead? And also, what's your favorite one, if you have a favorite one? So that's our questions for you. It really was a blast doing this with you today. I hope that you enjoy it as well. And we will catch you on the flip side. We'll see you next week. Until then, enjoy yourself, take care of yourself,
and watch the NBA and watch the free agency. That's gonna be gonna be good free agency this year.
Yeah, keep it up. All right. Well, hey, from us here, thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Bye.